Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Loving Little Learners. This video is me sharing with you all of the teaching tips that I have found helpful for remote learning. I've talked to tons of teachers and I've implemented these things in my own classroom. And so I'm going to compile this video to share with you all of the things that I found to be most helpful moving forward with my virtual learning or remote learning. So I hope that you stay tuned and you find something that you deem as helpful for you and for your own classroom. So stay tuned. I highly recommend creating some type of visual, graphic, interactive schedule. So I have a couple of videos showing you how to make these interactive schedules within Seesaw, as well as Google Slide to post on Google Classroom. So check out my channel if you haven't seen them. But these schedules are great because I, as you see, can link everything that I need my students to get to right here. So I make this as an activity every day. It's the first thing on the student's feed. It's scheduled out to go out that way. And my students know first thing in the morning, they're going to go on Seesaw. They're going to click on our number one link. And then after we're done with that session, they go all the way through the day. This links to their journals, links to all of our live sessions, links to their small groups, even links to their assessments like iReady and iStation. So everything that they need is right here throughout the entire day. They can visually see what it is. So if they can't read or they're not understanding, I could say, go look at the notebook or go click on the link by the robot. Okay. And they really have got it down packed super quick, super easy. There's no confusion whatsoever as to what they need to do. And this is also good to show your admin or your school how you're spending all of your different minutes for the day, because just in case school gets audited or whatever it might be, you can track what you're doing throughout the day. I can say that I'm taking these green sessions are all my synchronous times, and then all of the other colors are my asynchronous time, and they can easily count up if I'm meeting the amount of instructional time that I need to be. So this is really helpful for both of those reasons. So definitely check out one of those videos if you haven't yet made an interactive schedule, and you can use it on almost any platform. These classroom agenda slides are great for establishing a routine with your students. These are something that I offer on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'll link below. But this allows you to basically just show your students the objective of the day, what they're doing together and as a class, and what they're going to do independently, and then the supplies that they need. As well as listing all of that, there's also a countdown timer to show when a specific class session is going to start. So I see my students all the time log in early and then start to gather these supplies. And then ever since I've started using these, my students are prepared. So no matter what, I can go and refer back to the slide and say, hey guys, I'm going to give you the next 1 minute to go ahead and gather these supplies that you need. There's a graphic, there's a picture of it, and they can go and gather that. The timer is super helpful for that as well. When I originally made this video, there was 50 slides. Now there are over 100 different slides giving you options of tons of different subject areas. So take a look at that, and hopefully that this helps you establish a routine with your class and with your students. I highly, highly recommend, for your sanity, do not let your students all go unmuted. Do not do it. Have your students stay on mute and show silent signals for comprehension and understanding, instead of having all of your students off of mute at once. You can use random name selectors like the ones that you can find on Classroom Screen or Class Dojo to choose a student to share one at a time, but it will save you such a headache if you do not allow all of your students to unmute at once. There's background noise, there's other people talking, distractions. Just moving your iPad makes so much noise and it's distracting. So make sure that your students stay on mute until it's time for them to be called on or to share out. You can use silent signals like thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs to the side to show understanding. You can also show signals like agree, or you can also teach them the bathroom sign. Whatever it is, make sure it's silent and that you can see it right away so that you can respond to your students and still interact with them without having the interruptions that come along with all of your students being unmuted. So as I quickly mentioned before, random name selectors are a huge benefit for your class, and they also give you points for any type of walkthrough or evaluation that you're going to have, because you're ensuring that all students have equal opportunity to participate. And you also avoid having your students feel like they're not being called on or picked on too much, and you avoid having that one student who knows the answer every single time. So I definitely go to a random name selector as often as I possibly can, and I have it on my phone, I have it on my computer, and I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and use the random name selector on ClassDojo and on Classroom Screen. Both of these are free apps that you can use in your class. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that right now so that you guys can start using those name selectors as well. If you go to www.classroomscreen.com, this is a free website that you can use for your teaching. If you look down here on the toolbar, you have a bunch of different options. Click on the second one here that says a random name. And here you can just go ahead and type in all of the names for your students. And then once you have all your names inputted, you can go ahead and go to choose. And then it will go through your list of options and choose on a student there randomly. If you're using ClassDojo, this is a demo class here, and you can just go to the toolkit on the bottom of when you're in Classroom. So go ahead and click on Classroom and go to the toolkit. Once you're here, they have all of these different options. If you click on the second one where it says random, you can then go through a random name selector there as well. So those are different ways that you can use random name selectors on free websites. My next tip is using visual cue cards so that you can show your students with graphics what it is that you want them to do. For example, in one of my past videos, I showed you guys using the mute and unmute buttons during your live sessions. I've also gone ahead and created these 4 language domain cue cards. So there's listening, writing, reading, and speaking. These are free on my Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'll link below. What I do is go ahead and hold up the cue card depending on what I want my students to do. So if they're practicing listening, at the moment, I'm going to hold up the listening cue card so that they know and they can see what it is that is expected of them. And same goes for reading, speaking, and writing. One thing that I have found to be super important is to have expectations, just like we would have in our classroom, and to go ahead and show your students these expectations in a visual way like this, where they can see exactly what they're supposed to be doing as well as hearing it or reading it. I go through these virtual expectations every single day with my students. It takes like 1 minute, but it's a quick reminder of what they need to do and what you're going to hold them accountable for. One thing I do want to say is that with expectations, you do need to be flexible and understanding, because some things like find a quiet spot, it's not possible for everybody depending on their learning environment and what their home life is like. But things like raise your hand definitely is. Turn on your camera. That would go ahead and vary from school to school what your expectations are. But definitely most expectations are across the board. And just like we would in class, you want to make sure that you review these expectations regularly and have them somewhere where the students can see them and that they know what is expected of them. This next tip involves modeling everything that you can for your students. This is going to cut on confusion. This is going to cut on the time wasted trying to navigate things on their own. I definitely model everything that I can for my students, whether that be our Seesaw Daily Journal or whether that be our schedule or just their online assessment. Whatever it is, I model. Whether I model through creating a video on Screencastify or Loom, or I just simply share my screen and walk my students through what to do during one of our online sessions. So modeling is super quick. It takes no time at all, but it will cut down on lots of confusion and lots of wasted time with parents and students, and also cut down on any frustration that they would have. So I definitely recommend modeling as much as you can for your students, in which you are sharing your screen and walking them through the steps that they need to take to complete just about anything. If you're trying to show your students a video and the playback is really slow and the internet connection is not the greatest, what you guys can do is go ahead and turn off your video camera so that your students can no longer see your face. So on Zoom, Google Meet, whatever it is that you're using, just go ahead and hit that camera button and turn off your video feed. This is going to help with playback issues because now your internet and your computer are not trying to both show you as well as the video you're trying to play. If you have your microphone still on while you are playing your video, your students are going to hear double. They're going to hear it echoing. So what you want to do is always make sure that the little toggle button when your presenting screen is on that says that you can hear your presentation sound, make sure that's on and go ahead and mute your microphone. That way that your students are only hearing the video being played through the channel that you want them to play, whether it's YouTube or SafeShare, whatever it might be, and they're not hearing it repeat through your own speaker system. If you are experiencing any type of slow connection problems or internet connection problems and you need to act fast so that you don't lose your whole class or your whole live session, go ahead and open up your phone and set up a really quick hotspot. So you can work with your phone companies. They have hotspots, unlimited hotspots for like $15 a month. And it's so worth it. There's been so many times where I just needed a better connection and I can simply just grab my phone and turn that hotspot on really fast and it saves my entire lesson. So definitely learn how to get to your hotspot through your phone and work with your service provider to see what offers they have. Let them know that you're a teacher working remotely and see what kind of deals they can give you. If you are using Google Meet for your live instruction, and for some reason your students are able to get access to this live feed, you can go ahead and try this trick that my tech support has taught me. If they're not being allowed on or they're getting an error message or being kicked off, what you can do is go up here to the little people that say show everyone. And then you can click here where it says add people. I'm not going to do it because then you'll see all my email addresses. But when you click here, it's going to have you just type in their student email and you can manually invite them into the classroom. And they should have no problem accessing it after that. One thing that I learned is that if you are going to use the option to remove students, say like they're not logging out or whatever it might be, they're not paying attention. If you remove students and you don't log out of this Google Meet session yourself, the student won't be allowed back in until you restart the session. So it's basically like removing them for the until the entire session is over. So those are some tips that I learned. Also, if you're having some type of technological issues, please do not spend your entire time trying to help parents get through all of these issues that you're running into. We did not overnight become a technologist or tech support, and it's going to take more time than it's worth. Go ahead and grab your district's technology support number and give it out. Utilize that. I was spending so much time in the beginning of the year trying to be tech support myself and help my parents because obviously I do want to help them, but I found that it was so much faster to just give out that number and they actually know what they're doing over on that side and they help them within minutes for something that it would take hours for me. So definitely utilize your district's tech support number and they have access to get onto your students' devices and help them navigate through whatever it is they're having trouble with. I definitely recommend encouraging your students to wear over-the-ear headphones with speakers attached to them. Our instructional times are cut by so much already that it's so important that our students can stay focused during these live instructional times. So by your students wearing the headphones, they're cutting down the distractions that are going on around them. Something that I love to do is to create interactive activities on the website Canva. So they have tons of really cute elements and features and text and everything you could ever ask for. So what I do is share my screen and just go through these presentations with my students. So this one is having my students recognize numerals and then create groups to match. So I can just go through and create the group, and they were telling me what numeral it is that the child's thinking about, and then telling me when to stop putting my red dots. So that was a really fun interactive activity. I had the same one for this one where they're recognizing numerals. So we had a number line and they had to count. Remember, I teach kindergarten. So they had to count how many pigs they saw using a counting strategy and then find the numeral that matched. Again, they're telling me when to stop and when I reached the correct numeral, and I just moved it over for them. So there's tons of things that you can do. I even did one for syllables where we as a class were clapping out the syllables that they hear in each of these words: bird, table, hot dog, sneaker, jacket, and then moving my little circle to go over the correct number of syllables that they heard. So there's tons of options. You can go over here to elements and search in whatever you want, and go ahead and put it onto your presentation. And again, just share your screen. So Canva is, like I said, my go-to for everything. Canva Pro is also free for educators. So go ahead and do an application to get that, because it is well worth the 5 minutes that it takes to do that application. I think all you have to do is show that you're a teacher and explain how it is that you are going to use Canva for your own classroom. So definitely take advantage. Most districts are requiring teachers to have some amount of asynchronous learning and some amount of synchronous learning. So what I recommend is that during these asynchronous times that you give your students a mini lesson recapping what it is that you did during synchronous learning or some other aspect of the content that you want them to learn. But what is really important is to keep these mini lessons short, sweet, and simple. You want to go straight to the point and don't make them any more than 5 to 10 minutes. Your students are already going to have a hard enough time trying to sit and pay attention within their home atmospheres that these mini lessons and this asynchronous time is really going to be for application and trying to make any type of hands-on learning that you can. So go ahead and give them a quick 5-minute mini lesson and then have them practice the work that you just went over really quickly. Something that I recommend doing is working with your school, your district, your admin, whoever you need to get in contact with so that you can go ahead and send out resources to your students. Our school is able to send out one distribution every month. So we, as a grade level, get together and figure out what type of resources our students need for the different units that we'll be covering within any given month. And then we make our bags and distribute them accordingly. So this month we sent out writing centers. We teach kindergarten and we're beginning to work on different writing elements. And so this is an example of one I made for my daughter, but it's just a little folder where they have all of these different resources inside. So if you look, they have shapes, numbers, colors, their names, sight words, and then it's double-sided. So they can hold this up. This is called a writing office. And they can hold it up like this, or depending on what they need, they can flip it over and see even more resources on the back. So writing checklists, writing words, weather words, their name, whatever it is, these have them all inside. They're super cool. I got the idea from my friend Dulce. She's a great teacher and has been using these for years. So we worked together to make our own. And I'm thinking about listing this on my Teachers Pay Teachers. If you're interested, then definitely let me know and then I can do so. But those are super helpful because it's all in one. All of our math resources are there. All of our writing resources are there. Their name is there, whatever we need them to practice on, and we can refer back to it during our teaching. We can say, Go ahead, hold up your writing office and look on the left corner. There you'll see, etc. So it's really good to have these things that we're able to reference during live sessions that our students can use as a resource. So if you don't have funds for supplies, definitely look into other options like Donors Choose. Talk to your admin, see what you can do. Please don't spend all of your own money sending things out, because there are so many cool and awesome resources out there that will help teachers go ahead and fund things for your classroom and for your students. So definitely see if you can work with your school, your admin, to give those students what they need, because having those physical resources to look back on or to refer back to during sessions is crucial and makes a world of difference. One of the ways that working from home is most difficult is not having boundaries set. Working from home is hard because you're not physically getting in your car and driving somewhere else. You're not going to a physical location for the most part and knowing that when I leave this location, I'm going home to work on personal life. That doesn't happen because most of us are working from someplace within our own home. So set some boundaries for yourself. Know when to stop working, know when to start, and stick to those times. Don't answer parent questions. Don't answer your emails. Don't work past the boundary that you set. Within those boundary times, know that all your focus is on your job and on your students and on those parents. But once that time is off, you need to give yourself that personal time that you need to keep your sanity, recoup, and relax. Thank you for watching this video and listening to all of my teaching tips for remote learning. I am just a kindergarten teacher trying to make it through this along with all of you. I am no expert whatsoever. So if you have any advice for me and for our Loving Little Learners community, please, please, please share it. Leave a comment in the comment section below and share what you found to be helpful. We are all open to any advice that you want to give us to help us make it through. So as always, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel, Loving Little Learners. And I hope you stay tuned for the next video.